All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Halloween. October 31st here. We're going to do an essentials. We haven't done one in a couple weeks here. I'm going to go over some quick settings really quick. Then I want to show you guys the side-by-side analysis in OptionVue. Go ahead and type in some questions as we're going through here, and I will answer them as best I can. Or if you want to save them at the end, that's fine as well. We can go into something else I'm talking about if we have a little bit of extra time at the end here. If you ever want to do a personal walkthrough, feel free to give us a call here at OptionVue, and happy to do those. And you get a lot more out of it when you're doing a one-on-one, and we can maybe even look at some trades that you're considering as well. I'm going to go ahead and share my desktop here. And we're going to be looking at my OptionVue. Okay, those of you that are new to OptionVue, I am going to quickly show you how you would kind of set this up to begin with. When you first come into OptionVue, you're going to have your quotes display. This is where you can pretty much customize this to look however you want to as far as symbols. You can create groups. You can change these parameters at the top by right-clicking, and then go ahead and change a selected field here, and then you'll have a new column heading there. Okay, this is a newer one, earnings date. If you put this earnings date in, any symbol that you have in here, it will populate this with information that we gather regarding the earnings date, and if it's after the market close on that day or before the market opens on that day. Okay, as far as entering a symbol, just left-click and you'll highlight the field here. Hit the Insert button on your keyboard to create a blank cell. Basically, it puts a new field in there. Or you can go to Edit and Insert a row. Does the same thing. You can also delete the row. It's helpful for people with Macs that don't have those delete and insert keys as readily as the PC users do. Delete it and get rid of it that way. To create a group like this, I'm going to left-click on this group heading indices here, and you're going to see that all you do is you would create a blank row again and start out the title heading with a pound sign. Pound sign indices will create a new group and then create the title of that group. These A buttons here next to each title row means that you will then alphabetize everything in that group. Okay, the little O means you have an option position on. The S means you have a stock position on. If it was a future and you were along a futures position, for instance, if you're along a crude future, there'd be an F in here. Okay, just so you know what those mean there. This is kind of newer in OptionVue 7 also. You can create tabs as well. Just right-click at the bottom, insert a tab. You can manage the tabs, organize them in whatever order you want to. But basically, I have, as you can see here, a currencies tab. I created a test one, ETF sectors, a futures tab, and then the tab that I start off with, my main tab when I'm talking to people and just throwing symbols in here to look at. So very customizable as far as being able to switch around and customize the different way you're looking at your quotes display here. Okay. First off, when you first get OptionVue, a good thing to know is you can create an unlimited number of accounts in OptionVue. You can create accounts for backtesting. If you have different brokerage accounts, you can keep those separately. If you have one just for kind of playing around, you can do that as well. I will click on this Info button. I'm going to create, this is my Options Express account. I'm going to create a new account. I'm going to name it Essentials. And a super account is a way to, maybe if you had multiple accounts with brokerages, you'd be able to look at all of your accounts combined together. That's what a super account does. So unless you're doing that, you don't really need to check off any of these boxes. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to say I want this account to start actually at the beginning of this year. And just say I started this account with $25,000. I hit OK. I am now in this account. You can see right there. If you ever want to switch to a different account, you could do this drop-down box. You can see I have a number of different things I've done in OptionVue here. And you can kind of customize this as well. This is per account. You can change this commissions or futures commissions and the options on those futures. If you wanted to do that, you can have the open positions to be valuations to include slippage and commissions if you want to, or you don't have to as well. So extremely customizable as far as how you're tracking different trades you're doing in different accounts even. Okay. So now I'm in this Essentials account. Okay. I got a question over here. I'll address that question in a minute, Louis. What you can do then, once you're in the quotes display, is we can then go ahead and go into an options chain here. And to do that, you just simply double-click on the symbol, or you highlight the symbol. And let's look at the Russell here. And then you can click on the matrix. So double-clicking on the symbol, left-clicking twice on it, or hitting the matrix button does the exact same thing. Okay. So now we have the calls on the top and the puts on the bottom. Okay. I'm going to take off these colors here, and basically what we're looking at now is we got these weeklies along the top here, and you can see, let's say weekly 1, there's 5 weeklies at all times available in the Russell right now. You can see the expiration, there's 1 day left is what that means. There's 8 days left in this one, 15 in this one. You can see that the November contract is actually taking the place of the 3rd weekly here. Okay. And you can also customize this however you want to. If I click on the Define button here, you can uncheck if you're not interested in weeklies. You can check this off here, hit Apply, hit OK, and the weeklies will go away, and now we're just looking at the monthly contracts. Okay. If you ever wanted to, add some more strikes, you could click on this Options tab here, scroll down to the first blank field. Maybe you're doing something really far out of the money, and you wanted to add some other strikes like a 13.10. I'm just hitting the 13.10, hitting the down arrow. In the 1320, hit the down arrow, and those are coming in for me. And then if you wanted to add more months out here, you would just simply come down this blank field down here, hit this little calendar button. It's going to add the next contract out for you. Hit OK, and you'll see that they'll come in here for you. Okay. So this S button, when you first get OptionVue, you're not going to have any colors in your matrix. What this S button does is it will bring in standard deviations for you. Okay, this is a newer feature now too. This little arrow here means that this is the at the money, and we've also shaded it going across for the puts and the calls. That way you can quickly see, where you're at in relation to these different option chains here. Okay, let's take a look at if we wanted to put on a position here. Okay, let's just say we wanted to go out to December, and we maybe wanted to do a 1 standard deviation. Kind of a condor here. Now what's happening here when you see these S's, that means the January and the November have these 65, these 5-point strikes trading here, whereas these are not defined. Let me just click on something here real quick. And I do have all the intervals defined here, so that's what you mean when you see the S's. That means they're not trading right now. And I'm going to go ahead and this is showing me the first, the beginning of the 2nd standard deviation here. I'm just going to sell one of these and sell one of these here. Okay. Now this is one way to be able to analyze it. You could do this, and I'm actually going to buy that. You could do this and you can analyze it this way, but one of the more this feature is getting more popular, and it's not as kind of talked about or known or presented about enough. So I'm going to share it with you here, and you can click on this little tiny, looks like a little graph button next to our print button here, and you can click on this, and it's going to say Open Up Side-by-Side Analysis. Now it's going to say you can't have this matrix maximized when you're doing this. Okay, so what you have to do then is you're going to have to come up here, and you're going to have to restore it down. Put it over here in the left-hand corner a little bit. Okay, and you can resize it here. Different people have different size monitors. Now you can click on it, and it's going to pull it up over here for us. Okay. So now I've got my one leg of my my condor up here that I want to look at. Now I can go down here and I say I want to do it, you know, right outside the first standard deviation here. I'm going to sell one of these and I'm going to buy one of these. And you can see that everything is kind of changing as I do this in my my graph over here. Okay, let's say I didn't want to do that strike here. I want to actually come down a little further and do this one. And you can change these, you know, it's going to change as you add strikes, take away strikes, make adjustments. You're going to be able to see it happen here. You can leave this open and it'll graphically show your position in real time if you have real time data. If you're back testing, which is pretty cool too, you can go back in time and step through every half an hour and watch the graph change. You know, every day, every half hour, however you want to do it. And then, you know, maybe you were getting over to, you know, one of the sides of your legs to where you'd have to make an adjustment, and you'd be able to go ahead and do that. Okay. Now, so this is a trade I'm going to put on. Let's say I actually wanted to put this trade on here, and I would hit Convert Trade. You're going to see it move from the Trade column here over to my existing position column. Okay, and I will do that. Here comes my Convert Trades button. Boom, it moves over. And basically what I've done now is I've told OptionVue that this is a position that I have put on and I want to track going forward. And you can tell that by clicking on this T-log button. Okay, this is my transaction log, and now you can see I started this account in January. Remember when we were first starting this account, and I put 25,000 in, and now it's got this condor I put on here. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually label this here. I'm going to give this condor the letter A because I want to link all these trades together and say this is one trade I want to watch and make sure all these trades stay together, because I'm going to want to put on another condor and or a butterfly or whatever you want in the rut. And I'll show you why in a second here. Okay, but first what we can do now is let's say that we were planning on just making roll. Maybe we were coming over to the downside here, and we wanted to roll this condor out to the downside a little bit. So let's just say we were going to, for instance, just take this off. Okay, and now I'm going to come down here, and let's say I wanted to just make my condor a little wider on this side here. Okay. So now it has my existing position. How do we see just the existing position? Well, you have this tiny E, T, and B up here. E stands for existing, T is for trade, that's your proposed trade, and B is for both. If I click on my E button, that's the condor we initially put on. That's my existing position. Okay. If I look at my trade button, this is going to be my proposed trade. I'm looking at moving this over here, but let's look at both of them together. Okay, so now you can see that after my existing position is here, after I put on my adjustment by closing out the one leg and opening the other leg out a little further, over here you can see the results and what it's going to look like. And you can see up here the colors that are being displayed here are telling you what the positions are. Okay, you can go up to 5 lines if you want to, or you can go down to 2. Perhaps you wanted to do that, and then you can actually change the dates in here. Okay, so if I wanted to go up to 3 lines and I want to change it, instead of 11:25, let's say I wanted to see it at 12:01, you know, you just come in here, hit OK. It's going to change my other line to December 1st. Okay, and there's an asterisk there now, and that asterisk lets you know that that's the line that's highlighted here, and that's what all of this P&L and my Greeks are representing. Okay, if I went up to 4 lines here, and let's say I clicked on 11:17, you can see that everything down here is going to change. Okay, these colors down here, this kind of purplish, and then you get the turquoise, those are representing standard deviations. Vertical lines are representing your break-even points. Okay, and this turquoise line going right through the black dot is representing a wand, and you can actually left-click on the wand, and you can drag it, and it's going to show you to the penny what your P&L and all your Greeks are for the specific line that we're highlighted on. Right now we're highlighted on December 3rd. Okay. Now let's say you didn't like that adjustment and you weren't going to do it. You could always click on this here, pencil eraser, clear trades. It's going to clear everything in this trade column here. And we're going to go back to our original condor here. Okay. So this is a really good way to use, a really good way to have the side-by-side. It's going to be a lot faster than having to switch back and forth between having a large matrix, for instance, going like this, and then this is a new feature too. If you ever open up a matrix and you don't see your position here, we'll have an arrow over here where it'll automatically take you to where your position's at. So versus having this where you have to analyze it and going back and forth, you can now restore this down and then hit your side-by-side analysis here. Okay. Let's say we wanted to compare this condor to maybe a condor out in January. Okay. Say we wanted to sell one here, buy one here, do the same thing down here in the puts. Okay, and now I just want to look at this January. I don't want to look at the December. I want to look at the January by itself. I'm going to highlight, left-click on the January. Okay, and let's see if I can get it to come up here, and here is my January. So basically what I did is I closed my side-by-side. Okay, I then highlighted the January by itself, and it isolated this trade, and it now is allowing me to look at this particular January condor by itself. Okay, let's say I like this trade and I want to put it on. So I want to have a condor in both December and January. I'm going to convert the trade again. I'm going to move over to the existing position. Okay, now if I uncheck this and say I closed and then reopen, it's going to be confused because it's going to look at both of my condors together. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back up to my transaction log. And you can see that I linked my first condor with A's in this R column. This, we call it a recon column here. I'm going to put the letter B in here so that this is, OptionVue now knows that this is a separate condor. Okay. Now what you can do is if you look at this button here is you can do a drop down, and now I have my A condor and my B condor. Okay, the reason it's looking like this now is because I'm switching back and forth and it's looking at the expiration of these as far as my timelines go. Okay, but this is a great way to be able to switch between the trades and be able to look at condors, butterflies, as many multiple different positions you have in the same underline. You are able to code those with a letter in the recon field in the transaction log. Okay. Now I can go back to my A. You're going to see the positions pull up in December. And the same thing, everything down here is going to just look at that, the position A that I created. Then we go over to B. You can see everything down here is changing as well. You can look at them both together, which would be all. Okay. So a real nice way that you're able to isolate different positions, and now you could specifically work with your December position and look at some potential adjustments that way. Okay. Or you could switch over to your B and look at adjustments that way. Look at them in the side-by-side analysis. Okay, so a number of ways you can use OptionVue to superimpose trades over each other, bounce between different positions you have in the same underlying, and make adjustments and see the adjustments being made right before your eyes versus having to switch back and forth between a large matrix and then going to the graphic analysis. Okay, it's going to look a little bit different, the side-by-side, than the large graphic analysis. Just for space purposes, you'll see a lot of the information that's usually on the left-hand side will be up here instead. Okay, and I'll just show you that real quick here. Okay, this information, when you do the side-by-side, is across the top. Okay, I'm going to check out my chat here real quick and see what kind of questions I got. Great feature, someone says here, and okay, someone is asking about the Control W and Control T. A lot of times, maybe you'll be back testing or something like that. A Control T is going to change all of the prices in your options chain to theoretical prices. Control W is going to fill in any blanks with theoretical prices and leave the rest alone if there's a price coming in here. A lot of times, just for a quick reference, I will often look at things, more so sometimes equities or ETFs, and I'll see S's coming in here, which is showing they're not trading. What I'll do often, and let's see if I can find something out here that would be a good example. Let me just pull a matrix up for Cobalt Energy once and see what this looks like. Okay, so now we have some things out here. R's mean that there are, those are trading, but there was nothing that traded today. Okay, now I'm looking at December, 51 days left here, December 21st expiration. I'm seeing an S here at the 35 put. Okay, what I'll often do then is I will go to, I have a news column here, and what I have here set up, and it's defaulted in here, is it goes automatically to Yahoo here. And as soon as it pops up here, you'll be able to see this. And what I can do is I can click on, very quickly click on this options tab here in Yahoo Finance. I'll go to my 35 put for December. And you'll notice it is not trading. Okay, so if you ever have a question about anything not populating an option, you can always go to the CBOE and look it up. But I find that this is pretty quick, going to Yahoo and seeing what strikes are actually trading here. You know, sometimes they'll have some strange intervals that they're trading at there. Okay, I'm going to check and see if we get any other questions there, and not yet. Lewis, if I didn't answer your question all the way, give one of us a call here. We'll go into more depth with you on that one. What else did I want to share? So we looked at the side-by-side analysis here. Let me just go over some other quick settings real quick for you here. We can go to, in order to set your quotes display up how you want, as a general default, you go up to View at the top here and then go to Default Matrix Format. I usually do a 1x5. You can get real creative in this drop-down box here and do a 3x2 or a 3x3, you know, however you want to do it. Just do a drop-down here, and you can change these parameters to whatever you want to. And then you could set your default to set default 1. Okay, if you want to get the default, you can. Let me show you what I have set for my default 2. Is I like to have last bid asked, volume, open interest. Okay, and I'll show you why. Just jump into Tesla really quick here. And now let's say, you know, I was bearish on Tesla or something like that, and I wanted to see what the spread was, maybe on selling something out here. What I can do real quick is I can quickly come up to this next to my format button. I have this M123, and I can click on my number 2, and boom, it pulls up my formatting that I have set as my default number 2. And then I quickly see where the spread is at, what the last trade was, how much volume and open interest is really in this specific strike. Okay, go back to my number 1. Okay, another nice feature is, let's say we want to look at this 200, we want to see details of the strike. Another way you can do it is just simply double click on it anywhere in this row, and it's going to pull up details about this option right here and all the theoreticals for this option as well. Okay, here's my theoretical price. Okay, and it's pretty, the market's priced, it's priced very good for where it's fairly priced right now. That's what the theoretical price is telling us. Let's say I wanted to see what this option price would be if Tesla, you can see up here on the left, the last was 159.94. Let's see what this option price is going to look like if Tesla gets to 170. So if Tesla was at 170 today, you can see the theoretical price on this option would be 279. Just kind of a cool thing to check out. Another thing, this is T plus N. That means today. Let's say it was 170 in 10 days. Okay, you can see it's not as much. It's a little bit high. It's actually lower, and the reason being there's 16 days in left, and your theta is bleeding out, so this option contract would actually be less than it's at now because of the theta bleeding out. $19.60 a day is what your theta, what this option loses in theta, in dollar value. Okay, let me see what we've got here. I got a question. Okay, let me go through some of the, I got another question here because I started showing some of the, you guys are seeing some of the other column headings that I have here. Percent to double is basically based on the theoretical price, how much, and this is what someone's asking about this percent double, how much the underlying would have to move for this option price to double in value. That's what that means. Okay, so basically Tesla would move up 8% for the theoretical value of this option, okay, to double. Okay, so that's what that means. This is a very cool feature here, probably of touching. I was actually talking to a guy in the Philippines today that wanted me to look at this with him. This is the probability of touching. It actually runs a Monte Carlo-based probability calculator, and you have to ask it to run this calculation. When you first set up this column, it's going to pull up this little PT button here, and you have to push this button in order for it to run the calculation for you. And this is going to be a little bit more in depth of a calculation and a probability of this finishing in the money. This is actually the probability of this strike ever being touched. Okay, a lot of people want to go out here and sell options or set up their condors further out where there's only a 5% chance of this ever being touched, or less, or maybe they'll use a 7% number. Okay, this is actually the probability of this option finishing in the money. Okay. Let me see another column heading. So basically, you could use this, you know, as a feature to set up. If you're selling naked, if you're putting on condors, you know, and you wanted to, you know, use it as a tool to maybe make an adjustment to, if your strike started coming up, you could then roll it out again to strike further out. That's going to have a lower probability of being touched. Okay. Let's see what other. This is another one I like to use if you are looking to put on a position or sell an option. I like to look at this. This is based on a theoretical model. What percentage of this is this strike overvalued or undervalued? Okay. So you can see this is only a 1% overvalued right now. These strikes are. Kind of neat when you're looking at, and this of course works for equities and for the futures and commodities as well. Let's look at another one. Let's just pull up an Apple real quick here, and you can see you know, if you were to sell an option, of course, you would want it to be overvalued, and vice versa if you were selling. One other thing I wanted to show is over here in the default settings up here at the top left is for the default models. When you first get OptionVue, you're going to have slippage set to hit bid ask, and that's definitely going to have an effect on when you're modeling or looking to make an adjustment in your trade. You're going to want to make sure your slippage is, usually I suggest moderate. Hit bid ask means you're going to get filled at the worst possible prices. The opposite. If you're so I recommend using a moderate. You're going to work your order to get a better fill there. So just so you know, that's where you can change slippage here. Okay, I kind of wanted to keep this one shorter so that I just wanted to show some of the settings and then some of the side-by-side analysis. See if anybody has any other questions right now. I'll take a look at anything you guys want. Okay, I got a question here. Let's see. Someone's asking about looking at the skews of out-of-the-money strikes. Let me show you a couple things that are newer as far as being able to look at some skews. Let's click on a. We'll do this a couple ways. Let me first show you the price chart here, our volatility charts, and we'll look at Apple. Pull up a price chart of Apple here, and I have a lot going on this chart already. Let me just start with the basics here. So we're looking at a daily chart. Okay, I'm going to overlay my volatility lines here, and this is how you do it. Okay, so the blue is the implied, red or brownish is going to be our statistical here. Okay, our newer feature is this M button down here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click this M button, and now it is going to show you we've got volatility cones for different timelines here. Okay, that's kind of a newer feature, and it's grabbing from our volatility clones that you could find in our modeling here. You click on model once you're in a matrix, click on volatility, and here we're looking at, you can see your 30-day, 60-day, 90-day average IVs here. We can look at weekly cones as well, as we're looking at them over here. Okay. As far as seeing, so I mean that might be able to, that should help you out to look at being able to look at volatility in a number of different ways. Let me go back into model here and look at something else here. And here is our volatility, the calls, the puts, and both averaged here combined. And we'll click on the calls here, and then I can see a skew graph. Okay. And it's showing me a skew graph of all of these contracts here that I have basically defined in my matrix. Weekly, 1, 2, November. So the weeklies are in here with the monthlies as well. Okay. There's a number of different ways you can look at the skews and that for each of the contracts out here. Okay, I know I kind of went over a lot here, and if there aren't any more questions, thanks you guys for tuning in. And I just want to recommend any of our essentials. You can always go to our OptionVue homepage, and right down here it'll say View Archives of Past Recordings, and we've got all of our essentials here. Len, me, Ken, and Karen going over them, some by Jeremy. And then you can select the different categories. There's some really quick, short how-tos, real short videos there. There's some quick, shorter tutorials on specific modules in OptionVue, and then there's also our Discover Options Mentor series where you can see some more educational stuff. Here's a good one from Paul Forcioni about how to adjust option positions. Whenever you see essentials coming out, it's going to be more about OptionVue and a demo about how to use OptionVue, and less so training on specific trading strategies and things like that. To see those, we do have those videos as well, Discover Options Mentor series, and you can select the mentor you want to watch right there. All right, everybody, thanks for attending, and keep an eye out for our emails for the next one that we do. Happy Halloween, everybody. Take care.